Hello there, very good afternoon. You're watching Lunchtime News on TV1. Bringing you the news, I'm Tharusha Kumar Singh. Just before we start off, let's take a look at your headlines this afternoon.
Inter-provincial travel restrictions will come into effect from midnight today until the 30th of May, says Army Commander. Inter-provincial bus operations suspended with effect from midnight. US approves BioNTech Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine for adolescents.
In a tragic turn of events, in your top story this afternoon, 26 COVID-19 deaths were reported yesterday and a 3-month-old infant was also among the deceased. The Government Information Department said that the deaths were reported between the 3rd and the 10th of May. 11 females aged between 36 to 91 were among the COVID-19 deaths that were reported yesterday as well.
The health sector stated that the total number of COVID-19 deaths in the country has risen to 827. 2,624 COVID-19 cases were identified yesterday, bringing the total number of COVID-19 cases in the country to 128,530. 22,092 COVID-19 patients are currently receiving treatment at hospital. 105,611 COVID-19 recoveries were reported as of yesterday.
Meanwhile, Army Commander General Shavendra Silva said restrictions on movement between provinces will be imposed with effect from midnight today until the 30th of this month. Taking into account the rate of COVID-19 cases, the Army Commander said movement restrictions could also be imposed within provinces.
Restrictions on movement between provinces will be imposed with effect from midnight tonight, the 11th of May to the 30th of May. This will not be effective on essential services and healthcare workers. The Director General of Health Services will announce the relevant essential services through a letter. There is a probability of COVID-19 spreading within provinces. Inter-district travel restrictions could be imposed. Information with regards to how many family members must step outside for shopping activities, the days in which shopping can be done, and measures that will be taken to minimize gatherings in shops will be announced today.
මෙවැනි කඩසාප්පුවලට ගමන් කිරීමට හැකියාවක් තිබෙනවාද යන්නත් විශේෂයෙන්ම කඩසාප්පුවල සංඛ්‍යාවන් විශාල වශයෙන් පිරීම අවම කිරීම සඳහා ගත යුතු ක්‍රියාමාර්ග සම්බන්ධවත් අද දිනේදී උපදෙස් නිකුත් කිරීමට නියමිතව තිබෙනවා.
6 Gramanildari divisions across 4 districts were placed under isolation this morning. Accordingly, the following areas were placed under isolation: Uyanwata Gramanildari division, Uyanwata North Gramanildari division in the Mathara police jurisdiction, Udahapuwida Gramanildari division in the Rattota police jurisdiction in the Matale district, Tibbutta in the Walgampaya Gramanildari division, Koskastanna Walgampaya Gramanildari division in the Kadugannawa police jurisdiction in the Kandy district, and the Mada Kirimatiyana Gramanildari division in the Kossata police jurisdiction in the Putlam district. Meanwhile, the Nikadalupota Gramanildari division in the Kurunagara district was released from isolation.
Now, the statement from the President's office talked about restrictions, so not exactly a ban. Can you just explain to us what these restrictions are and from when this will come into force?
It is in force at the moment, and it is in force until 30th of May. The details of these restrictions will be released soon, because we have to, the government policy is that movement will be restricted without causing any inconvenience to the essential services. Essential services, then export-oriented industries, agriculture, fisheries. So these sectors will be operative, although we have already imposed these restrictions. So we have not discussed and decided in detail how we are going to implement. It's at the experimental stage at the moment. However, in most of the cases, the authorities would consider case by case and decide whether that activity is an essential service or not, rather than making a blanket policy for entire country and entire sectors at once.
In more news from here at home, the National Transport Commission has made a decision to suspend all inter-provincial private bus services from midnight tonight. Director General of the National Transport Commission, Commander Nilan Miranda, stated that this decision was reached taking into the account restrictions of movement imposed between provinces.
Meanwhile, the Sri Lanka Transport Board said all inter-provincial bus services were suspended from midnight yesterday. Panduka Swarnahansa, the Deputy General Manager of the SLTB, said all bus services within provinces will carry out as usual.
බස් රථ හිමියන්ට බස් රථ ධාවනය කිරීමට මතුවලා තියෙන ආර්ථික දුෂ්කරතාවයන් වලට
As a concession to the economic problems bus owners face in transport activities, we have reduced the tender payment by 50% and 50% of the temporary permit payment. Even though school uniforms and textbooks were given at the beginning of the year and new teachers were appointed to schools, amidst COVID-19, it is the Director General of Health Services that has the authority to make the final decisions regarding closing schools. Concessions can be given to their licenses to assist them in transport activities, but there is no collision between that and travel restrictions imposed due to health reasons. All other decisions must be made considering the health situation.
ඒකත් එක්ක කිසිම ගැටීමක් ඇති වෙන්නේ නැහැ. සෞඛ්‍ය නීති රීති වලට යටත්ව තමයි අනිකුත් සෑම තීරණයක්ම ක්‍රියාත්මක විය යුත්තේ.
A special vaccination drive to administer the Chinese Sinopharm COVID-19 vaccine manufactured to the residents of the Western province commenced today with the support of the Triforces.
State Minister of Primary Healthcare, Epidemics and COVID Disease Control, Dr. Sudarshani Fernandopulle said plans are in place to administer the first jab of the Sinopharm vaccine to 30,000 people daily. Meanwhile, the Sinopharm vaccine will be administered at 8 areas in the city of Colombo today. Appointments can be placed to obtain the vaccine through the e-channeling service as well. A vaccination drive at the PD Sirisena playground in Maligawatta is currently underway. According to the Ministry of Health, the first jab of the Sinopharm COVID-19 vaccine has been administered to 23,575 people so far. Meanwhile, steps have been taken to increase the capacity in hospitals. She further requested the general public to restrict movement as much as possible, stay indoors, follow the COVID-19 health guidelines to curb the spread of the virus.
I respectfully request the general public of the country to remain indoors without contracting the virus. There is no requirement to count the beds in hospital if the public stay indoors safely. Follow the health guidelines and avoid public gatherings. I kindly request everyone to stay indoors without bringing the virus into your houses.
Cabinet media spokesperson Udaya Gammanpila today said, according to experts, any vaccine can be used to administer the second dose of the COVID-19 inoculation.
Experts in the field have expressed that there is no problem in administering one type of vaccine as the first dose and another type of vaccine as the second dose. The doctors in Sri Lanka will reach a final decision about this. Therefore, the people who obtain the first dose and are waiting for the second dose have no reason to worry about receiving it. We have already begun discussions with Indonesia and certain African nations after we received information that those countries have the COVID AstraZeneca vaccine in access. The President discussed this with the Director General of the WHO as well. We will take steps to either get it from a country that is manufacturing it or from a country that has already purchased it. We will be able to do that in the next month. There are Indian nationals receiving treatment at the Kabithigolava Hospital for COVID-19. Wouldn't this increase the risk of the Indian variant of the virus spreading in the country?
COVID-19 වසංගතය පිළිබඳ රාජ්‍ය අමාත්‍ය විශේෂඥ වෛද්‍ය සුදර්ශනී ප්‍රාන්දපුල්ලේ ඇමතිතුමිය
Specialist Dr. Sudarshani Fernandopulle, the State Minister for the Prevention of COVID-19, spoke to the media and said that the Indian variant has only been found in one person who is under quarantine and that there is no risk of it spreading in the country. Similarly, the people of the country are more important than tourism. Therefore, health care of the people will be given priority.
The government has taken a decision to run 40 kilometers of national highways. The entire project is to be concluded on the 31st of March 2027. The proposal was presented to the Cabinet by Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. In more local news now, plans are afoot to acquire alienated lands in the Muthurajavila Reserve through a steering committee and designate it as a national reserve. The proposal has been presented to the Cabinet by the Minister of Environment.
In 1981, the Central Environmental Authority and the Greater Colombo Economic Commission introduced a master plan to protect the Muthurajavila wetland zone. It proposes 3 modes of use: conservation zone, induction zone and mixed urban zone. Under this, Muthurajavila sanctuary is considered to be 1,285 hectares. Another 162 hectares of land has been designated as an environmental protection area by the Central Environmental Authority. However, land grabbing, Garbage disposal and land use for various industries have taken place in the past, through which a major environmental threat to the survival of the wetland region has emerged. A proposal made to the cabinet yesterday through a steering committee has prepared a master plan and declared Muthurajola wetlands as a national reserve. It was proposed to take the required steps to name the wetland as a Ramsar wetland.
Meanwhile, another failed attempt to rob a bank was reported from Anuradhapura today. This is the second such incident reported from the area within 2 weeks.
Similar to the attempted robbery at a private bank in Anuradhapura, attempts to rob a state bank in Mihinthale failed last night. The robbers had cut a barbed wire and entered the building through a window while trying to avoid being spotted by the CCTV. The robbery failed when the suspects had attempted to disconnect the safety siren system. The Mihinthale police arrived at the scene as soon as the siren was activated. The robbers had managed to flee the scene by then. One suspect who was near the bank has been arrested in connection to the incident.
In the growing fertilizer issue of the country now, farmers in Rajangane have also been severely inconvenienced due to the lack of fertilizer for their cultivations.
Around 25,000 acres of land in Rajangane is used for cultivation. Farmers have been able to cultivate only 25% of the land capacity of fruits and vegetables this season. However, the farmers allege that they have been inconvenienced due to the unavailability of fertilizer. As a result, several crops including brinjal, chili and lady's fingers have been destroyed. The farmers request the relevant authorities to provide a solution to this problem as soon as possible. A stock of fertilizer that was concealed in an attempt to be sold above the market price was recovered by the Consumer Affairs Authority in Ambilipitia. Our correspondent said a suspect was arrested in connection to the incident. It was revealed that the suspect had sold fertilizer worth of 1,500 rupees at 3,500 rupees. The suspect is due to be produced before courts today.
And that is all the news we have for you this afternoon. Have a good day.